Do you call this deadline fallout? The Houston Astros fought back from 20-31. They've survived injuries. They climbed back into first place. And when the front office finally had the chance to reward the clubhouse, they stood still. Dana Brown had one job at this deadline: make a first place team better.
Yainel Diaz, this is Locked On Astros.
Hello and welcome to Locked On Astros, your daily Astros podcast. Here are your hosts, Eric the Man Heisman and Brett H-Town Wheelhouse Chansey.
Hello, everybody, and welcome into this edition of Locked On Astros. I'm H-Town Wheelhouse. He's not Eric Heisman. He is Jim Christopher. He comes from Ballpark Nation. I'll give y'all more on him in a minute, but thank y'all for making Locked On Astros your first listen every single day. We are part of the #1 sports podcasting network. Oh, and I happen to be a member of the award-winning Back to the Bullpen show as well on Locked On. We'll talk about the film festival here in a second. We will definitely get to that because this guy is not only a baseball enthusiast, not only a Houston Astros super fan, but he's got a really cool show called Ballpark Nation. And if you haven't seen it, we're going to tell you where to find it. We're going to tell you how you can help him in his efforts because he is an independent filmmaker. But without further ado, Jim, thanks for coming back because we have had you before. It's been a minute.
It's been a minute, and I'm excited to come back. I wish we could be more 2017 post-trade deadline, but
yeah. Well, we can dream. It's like Josh from Apollo today said we used to be gods.
You know what? And God love those guys for live streaming the entire day, and then it was like.
Well, we did like an hour show and it was like, oh my gosh. Yeah. I mean, Dez even did the whole, because last time he took a nap, like we got Correa back. And so he was on the couch and had the blanket and he was trying to get that good juju. But so that's what we're going to start at. We're going to talk about Jim Brown. We're going to talk about your Ballpark Nation show. And then we're going to talk about just the path ahead and a playoff run where you see the Astros realistically. But Dana Brown, Is he actually being allowed to be the general manager? And here's why I say this, and I want you to respond. Last year, they didn't get pitching help. They relied on the injured pitchers coming back. That plan failed. This year, and then afterwards he said, man, we really should have gone and got pitching. This year, we're not selling, we're buying. And, I did I Trade Jeremy Pena episode. Jeremy Pena has been hot ever since. You're welcome, Astros Nation. And then we were like, okay, cool. He's going to get an arm. He's going to get a bat. He's going to get a reliever. Then we were in and out on Larnach. Then we got Varsho. Then we're still working. We're still working. And nothing. Same thing. Did not address the pitching. Jim, is he doing this because he can't? Or is this doing this because he just simply didn't?
I think two things can be true at the same time. I think that probably Jim Crane handcuffed him because he's actually had – now, I think 2 trade deadlines and 2 off seasons, and we've gotten the same promise every time. Left-handed bat, can't have enough pitching. Oh, and then even the excuse of guys coming off the injury list is the same as an acquisition. I think that he is a dead man walking, and if you're Jim Crane, does it make any logical sense to allow him to greatly impact the future of your team if you are, again, a dead man walking? I actually agree in principle with the not trading from the major league roster stance. And let me just give you a background on where we are in this, because we do our own show. It's not nearly as detailed as you guys, but me and Andy, we record once, twice a week, and our mode had shifted from maybe we're sellers to should we stand pat to, okay, it was clear the Rangers aren't going to do anything. The Mariners aren't going to do anything. The division is weak. You might as well go all chips in. And I don't think that Crane has demonstrated in the past that he cares about prospects. There certainly is. He's gone over the cap before.
Giving away many prospects.
Exactly. So part of me thinks that Dana Brown does too much negotiating through the press, that it removes any leverage he might have. And I used the example in a conversation I had earlier today. It's obviously a good thing that we didn't trade Paredes. However, he tried real hard in the spring and he talked about it and all that did was remove any leverage. that he went in basically telling Isak, it's 50-50. You're not going to be here anymore. And we came close. So I actually believe that Dana Brown will be a good GM someday. I just don't think it'll be in Houston.
You know what? I think that's probably the most eloquent way that I've heard anybody put it, because I get rage from one side or the other when we talk about this. It's funny, some of the messages we've gotten on our YouTube channel are quite hilarious. But Dana Brown, to me, like you said, says too much. Okay. And I can say that because I'm a talker. Okay. Mm-hmm. Jim, when I was young, and a lot of people don't know this about me, I had a really horrible stuttering problem. And from first grade till about 10th grade, I could not talk when the teacher said, Brett, it's time to read, I was sweating bullets. I could not get a word out. I went through years and years of speech therapy. It wasn't until I was called to the ministry as a 16-year-old in high school where my stutter actually left me. And I struggle with it from time to time. But I'm still making up for the words that I missed out on all those years. And so that's why I tell people I'm a talker. So I can understand about talking, because sometimes I can give a little too much information. Sometimes I can be a little too open. And I think that's where Dana Brown is. And I think too, because Dana Brown's trying to make his way in a world of the big bad GMs. And I can't imagine the pressure of being in that world. You're a major league team and you're the general manager and you're charged with putting together a successful roster and continuing the run. Yeah. And since he's been here, they've done nothing but go backwards. And especially if they miss the playoffs this year, which would be crazy, because I think one team makes it out of the West, not two. I don't think you have any. I think the Guardians and the Twins and those guys and the Tigers or whoever else is going to make sure that there's only one AL West team in there. And it is disappointing. Astros fans are furious. And here's the thing. I had someone make a good point. They're like, look at all these prospects that were top 5 prospects, and where are they now? In 23, Hunter Brown and Diaz are the only 2 of the 5 top 5 prospects that have made any kind of impact. Drew Gilbert's kind of making an impact. Colin Barber's still here. Then in 24, Eric Getty's in the pros. Bryce Matthews up and down. DeCenzo up and down. Luis Baez, he's pretty much an afterthought. Cam Smith, jury's still out on him. I think he's still got a lot more upside than down. Walker Yonix had his struggles coming back. Bryce Matthews. But you look at all these guys over the last 3 years, Mike Stanton always tells me prospects are one step away from being suspect. And they're prospects.
Oh, that's a great quote.
Until they do something, I just don't think also that Dana was given a whole lot of leeway. And to your point, God, I took a long way around this. To your point, with Dana saying so much and then it coming out, we're not trading from our major league roster. Okay, well then who are your best minor leaguers? That's who we want. That's who we want. I mean, you couldn't even float Zach Cole I was surprised Eric Getty got traded because he's technically part of the major league roster. And so to me, I was more dumbfounded I'm like, why do anything? If you're just going to stand pat, just stand pat.
I think what I find interesting about all of this is I think so much of what we're dealing with now is still the repercussions of the scandal. And I'm beyond just the logistical part of, hey guys, for those of you who say the Astros weren't punished, you lose 2 top picks 2 years in a row. Those are either your real prospects or your trade pieces. But also, Jim Crane doesn't become hands-on. If you go back and look at that report, everything about that report was the culture was run amok. Well, he was hands off on the culture. He's not going to let that happen again. So nope. I don't think he's Jerry Jones. I'm a Cowboys fan. I've lived with Jerry Jones. These are not the same people. Okay. Jerry Jones is all about ego. I think Jim Crane is trying to protect an investment. And I don't know which is worse. I mean, it's quite possible, Brett, that you'd rather be the crazy old guy that's always trying to be nuts and win it all the time versus afraid of your investment. But to me, it doesn't do a lot of help getting mad at Jim Crane because Jim Crane's not going anywhere.
He's not going anywhere. No, and you know,
And I don't want
he's
him to
also
go anywhere. I don't want Ford Motor Credit to own the Astros again. Remember that? That was awful.
well, you know, the thing is too, he's always everybody always says, "Oh, he's a cheap owner." He's not a cheap owner. He's a businessman. But you know what? We're going to hold that there. We're going to talk more about Jim Crane. We're going to talk more about you know, more about this topic. And then I want to talk to you about Ballpark Nation, because if y'all haven't found Ballpark Nation, you're going to find and you're going to hear about a real Jim. We'll do that next. Baseball fans, if you think you know who's hitting a homer today, FanDuel is giving you a free chance to call your shot with Daily Dingers. It's easy to play. Just make your free pick with who you think will hit a home run in their game. If you're right, you'll receive a profit boost to use on your next bet for a chance at extra winnings. Best of all, you can make a free pick every day throughout the MLB season. Daily Dingers is another fun way to stay engaged with everyday games, whether you're following your favorite team or keeping an eye on matchups across the league. Every game has someone capable of going deep. Now you get the chance to make your prediction before first pitch. Whether it's someone that is on a heater or someone who's facing a favorable matchup, Daily Dingers is right for you. So are you ready to play your game today? Join all the action at FanDuel.com. That's FanDuel.com to play Daily Dingers. Make your free pick on who's hitting a homer. Play ball and swing for the fences on FanDuel, an official partner of the MLB. Going, it's gone. And you know who's never gone is Locked on Astros and Ballpark Nation with Jim Christopher. That's a great show. And I do want to get into that before we end this second segment. So here is why I think Dana Brown has failed at another trade deadline. He's acknowledged openly that they pursued starters. I know Foster Griffin they were in on.
Yeah.
I think he more highly values his prospects, or doesn't try to get guys to look at other prospects versus the ones they want. So I don't know that he does good in the bartering and trading thing. Houston's farm system is still weak. Now he has drafted, I think, pretty well
so far. I mean, as far as we know, yes.
Yeah. You know, of course, we won't know what the true fruits of that is until years down the road when they're major leaguers or not. Ownerships reportedly didn't want to trade out the major league roster. And do you want your GM that's on a limited, basis to trade away the future? And Dana said he didn't want to mortgage the future, but how are you mortgaging the future with the 29th or 30th best minor league system? There's got to be guys, because did you see some of the pieces that went for even Scooble?
This is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. Like, for some reason, and if he was such a, Andy brought this up on our show today, is why does it only seem that only the Blue Jays take his calls? Like, I don't get that part of it either. But the other thing that we're not mentioned yet is, how can you mortgage the future when there's no future next year? How are you not going all in when there's probably, I mean, look, I think we could all conservatively say we're going to lose at least half a season next year. I think the whole thing's going to be a wash, personally. How do you not go chips in and try to leave as good a taste in your mouth with your fan base so that way they come back in 2028? Because you and I are old enough to remember after 94 when it didn't. Now, I have a feeling it'll be different because fans are, for some reasons, pro ownership. I don't get it, but we are. I think he's learning on the job. And I think just like Jim Crane taught us and undid the lie that all the Astros owners before did by saying, "Oh, we're a small market team." Remember when you used to hear that we're the fourth biggest market in the country? I think we also now have to learn that the Astros are no longer on the job training.
Right.
Whoever a GM is and whoever a manager is. I think Joe Spada is going to be a good manager someday, but just like Jeff Luna wasn't good at his first stop, I think he'll take the lessons learned here and move on. But
I'm just wondering where they'll go, because I was having a discussion with actually Jeremy Booth on X, and I was like, but where do they go? Do they go with Omar Lopez? And he said, I'm afraid I would not go with Lopez, not because I don't think would be a good manager, but you need someone who's proven. You almost are going to have to not necessarily clean house, but you're going to have to get some new blood in here, some veteran blood. And I don't know if that means bringing back someone like a Joe Madden. You know what I'm saying? I'm like a name from the past.
I think that is what you do. I actually think what you have to do is kind of rip the Band-Aid off and say this version of the Astros worked great for this 10 years. And whatever happens this year, it has been an amazing 10 years. Like, and I feel like Astros fans sometimes lose. It's like object permanence is not it's all they deal with is what's in front of them. But I also think that maybe the league is caught up to the Astros style of doing things. I don't know what it is, but I do think you have to then go and look at what the Rangers did when they brought back Bochy. They won a World Series. Like, I think there's
if you remember the mindset, I don't know if you knew this, but I had friends that worked for the Astros whenever Drayton McClain went with all the red brick and the pinstripe and all that stuff. The employees would get written up if they wore the old orange and blue Astros. Like, he wanted a shift. Yes. They would get in trouble for wearing he didn't like the old stuff. He's like, it's all red brick. It's all pinstripe. This is what we're wearing. This is who we are. And, a CEO will do that. Hey, we're rebranding. You love the brand. Like, you are a company guy. And that's the thing. Jim Crane needs a company guy. Jim, I think, believe it or not, I think Joe Espada, if they go to the playoffs, Joe Espada might still be the manager next year. I had this sneaking suspicion because he is kind of a yes man. But then again, if you really want to flip it on its head and you miss, maybe the blessing will be in the curse. Maybe missing the playoffs is what this team needs to really make a change in all the right places.
Yeah, I think absent a long playoff run, I think Joe's job is probably not safe. I think if he bats in whatever, and again, I think, like I said earlier, both things can be true at the same time. I've ran businesses before. I understand how even if you just won a World Series, if Click and Crane weren't vibing, that's going to be untenable for both parties, probably.
True.
I always, and this is where I get screwed up in an online debate, because I always look for the nuance in everything. But I do feel like Jim Crane probably wants to be able to trust an actual baseball person to run this stuff so he can continue working on the real estate development around the ballpark, which I'm very excited about. Like, I don't think he's going to sell this team because he has too much investment.
Oh, they have purchased so much property right around the stadium and
to build this thing.
I've been hearing about this, and believe it or not, I was for about a year or two connected with somebody within the Astros front office through a friend, and a couple people came to us and asked us like, "Hey, what do you think about this? What do you think about that?" And so we gave them some of our thoughts. So we'll see if those things come to fruition or not. Now, they're not going to call it ballpark, Brett Chansey Lane or anything like that, but before we do in this segment, because I want to take this now and then roll it into our third segment, you have go to his YouTube channel. It's youtube.com/@ballparknation. What you do, Jim, is you go from coast to coast visiting ballparks and gyms that people may not know about, just showing how great this game is.
I love baseball so much. And, when I got, I'm a Houston kid, so I grew up going to the Dome, and I actually get to meet Steve Sachs, and he was like, "Oh, I loved hitting in the Dome." I don't know if he just said that because I was there, but, but it was, I like, Steve, please tell me it was not as dingy as it looks on, because I remember this palace, but basically it's a show we created where it's essentially a travel show, and the lion's share of it is centered around going to minor league ballparks, indie parks. We do some major league stuff too, but and just kind of, baseball is this beautiful game because it's played literally everywhere. And it's become a real safe space for me. I'm doing a documentary about PTSD and about why it's my safe space. And so, we produce anywhere from about 8 to 12 episodes a year, just telling you about all the cool things you can see, not just at that ballpark, but in the town you go and visit. And we originally had the show on Amazon, and we pulled it off. It was our decision because they had assumed some editorial control we didn't like. And what it's allowed us to do actually is become kind of the show our old show was, which was a lot more fun to make. And so we just finished. We had 2 more stops left to shoot season 3, and then we've got at least 2 more seasons planned. So I like fun numbers. So
No, I love that. This is what I would call a passion project, and we're actually going to talk about another passion project of yours, the Austin Revolution Film Festival, honoring Billy Kring. Did I say his name right?
Yeah, that's what we did for this last year. But yeah, we run we run one of the top reviewed film festivals in the country, reviewed by filmmakers. And I know we recently, I think 3 years ago, started a podcast thing. You guys won one of our bigger podcast awards for Back to the Bullpen. 2 of the Lockdown shows were nominated as well. But yeah, it became a thing where I was in the independent film business for 12 years. I made 15 features. All of them sold. All of them did okay. And we were playing everywhere but in Austin. And so we literally set up an inflatable screen in my backyard because friends and family didn't know we really made movies. And then some friends were like, "Can I bring my film?" And I'm like, I guess it's my backyard. And then it turned into this thing where we're entering year 15.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and
that's right, because this was the 14th.
Yeah,
last
the 14th,
year was the 14th.
and I lost my mentor in the year before, the year leading up to that festival, so we named it after him.
Okay, there you go.
Former Texas Border Patrol officer turned novelist turned
wow.
film. Just amazing dude, and yeah, it was pretty cool to be able to see you guys get nominated, and then the judges came back, and I found out about 15 minutes before you did. I think I told y'all privately.
Yeah, you did.
So yeah, but it's a lot of fun, and it's every January, and we celebrate what we call blue collar filmmakers. These are people that get stuff done without the $1 million budgets.
That's awesome. No, I love that. I love that.
Supergirl had, and
yeah, there you go. There you go. Well, hey, we're gonna continue this, and then we're gonna talk about the path ahead to the Astros. Like, where does Jim realistically see this team going? And am I going to give you some hope with my always positive, always Stros take? We'll do that next. A big thank you to our friends at Amazon for this limited break. The back to school season, spend less on your kids with Amazon. We all know how crazy the back to school shopping experience can be. It starts with a few items on the list, and then suddenly you're shopping for supplies, clothes, lunch gear, tech, and about 10 other things you didn't see coming. It adds up fast. When you buy clothes for back to school, then your kid has a growth spurt 2 weeks later, and you're right back where you started. Sometimes it genuinely feels like they're growing faster than your budget can keep up. And when the teacher supply list arrives and somehow every item feels completely reasonable on its own, then you add everything together and realize how much stuff one kid needs for one school year. So remember, with Amazon's low back to school prices, just spend less on your kids, because every dollar you don't spend on them is a dollar you haven't spent on them. Shop back to school at Amazon and spend less on your kids. That's right. And here we are back for our third segment with Jim Christopher from the Ballpark Nation. Again, make sure you go to his YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe. Check him out. If you haven't watched any of the episodes, it's a great show to binge watch, especially if you're a baseball fan. And also, look, since he is one of these independent guys, he's not with the big budget Paramount studio guys. Look, these guys make films. They put these things together, but they don't do it because they've got wads of cash laying around. They do it because people are so kind, and they give and they donate. And if this is something, a local, good, valuable cause that you see scrolling across the screen the rest of the segment, feel free to go there and donate and show your support. Different levels of support gives you different things and film credits and various things like that. So there are some perks to it. But Jim, as we talk, the Astros are up 6-2. I don't want to jinx anything, but we're going to lead. We're going to use this to lead into our Astros talk. Wisniewski, 6 innings pitched, only 2 earned runs given up, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts. They've got Wisniewski. It looks like Imai might settle in for a little while into a bullpen role. The question is, Javier, what's he going to do? If the pitching rounds out and the pitching does their job, do you see the Astros continuing to lead the West, or do you think the Mariners are an actual threat? I think the Rangers aren't. I just think it's us and the Mariners.
No, I really think it. I should put out to that link is for it's about our documentary about PTSD. Just check it out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry about that. Yeah.
No, I think they win the division. Like
Yeah.
I for as much as I might have sounded negative for the first 20 minutes of the show or whatever, I think part of that negativity comes from a frustration of, I think despite how bad the outfield offense is, I think it's a team that can win the division. I think we all watched 2019. We've all seen what can happen when you get in and you get a couple of big bats. Hello, Pena. Hello, Jordan, MVP, and a couple of hot arms in Josh Hader, Hunter Brown rounding into form. I mean, what I love about Wisniewski is he's exactly who he is, right? He's 6 innings and 3 runs, and that's what he is. And you will take that every single time with
especially this year.
Especially this year with how potent this offense has been. That's been, I think, the weird flip is that, remember, last year just couldn't score. And this year, if you could have just done a little bit of mixing and matching, but all that being said is I don't think the Mariners know what the heck they're doing. I agree. The Rangers have pretty much tapped out. I really do believe that I think the Astros have, for the most part, a favorable schedule. And I know schedule doesn't really matter in baseball. I get it, but I'm bullish, man. I feel good. I feel like they're going to win the division, and who knows when the playoffs come.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that the division is theirs to take. It's theirs to keep. I'm surprised that the Mariners didn't sell more pieces than they did. I'm surprised they actually went out and got people. But I thought they made a really good trade for Castillo. They got guys back that are going to be serviceable that they can use. So Castillo, I think, needed a change of scenery. And unfortunately for the Astros, if he heats up, I think the White Sox are going to be a little bit tougher in the ALDS if we face them than I think a lot of people give them credit. Then you get past them. I think I was surprised how many moves the Guardians made. So the Astros are really in control of their own destiny. When you have Jordan, when you have Jeremy Pena, when you have Isaac Paredes, if you get Christian Walker hot at the right time, if Altuve can even be a third better than what he's been, he is serviceable and he's playoff experience. Now, here's my question. I got absolutely raked over the coals for suggesting that the Astros should trade for Jorge Soler, and then he gets put on waivers. And I'm like,
take a flyer.
Get that guy. Go get him. You got $3 million. Give it to him.
That's the thing. I think at this point, because you didn't make that big acquisition, he cannot be worse than what you're running out there already.
Exactly.
And I know that's probably not the best GM strategy. Could be worse, but to me, I think you should take a flyer on him. Why not? And then look at what Taylor Trammell is doing, right?
Yeah,
like
exactly.
He's having the year of his career. I know you talked about like guys hitting in Seattle, but Seattle's a black hole for hitters. Like they just can't get any offense going. But I would absolutely go get Soler, just so you know what, that way nobody else does, because he hits really well at Dyken Park.
He does hit well at Dyken Park. We've seen it.
We all remember, don't we? So, although by that logic, we'd go get a Rosarina too. But anyway,
true.
But it was a weird trade deadline. I don't know why Detroit sold, because they are so close in the wild card. I know that's Locked On the Tigers, which I'm sure exists.
It does. It does.
So, but no, I would absolutely go take a flyer on Soler. I would keep my eye open for the waiver wire the whole way through. But I think your plan is you got to win the division and get hot. And to me, I will always feel like winning the division equals successful season, because it's the one part of baseball you can control.
Yeah.
Baseball is a big sample size sport.
And of course, people are watching this after the ending of the game. So if the Astros win the game, then they will be 9-1 in their last 10. They're the only team in the American League with that record. They are the hottest team in the American League. And while I don't think they'll catch Tampa at 66 and 46 right now, they can at least catch the White Sox, because they'll have as many wins as them. They'll have 3 more losses than them after tonight if they can complete the win. And if you can somehow have a better record than the White Sox, and how have we done with them series wise? I've
2-1.
Okay, 2-1. Okay,
2-1.
So we have
I believe
it. So we
2-1.
have it. So we have a tiebreaker on them, right? Or I think we
So
played
far
them
with just one more series left.
One more series. So if we can win that series, and if you end up tied with them record wise, then you would get the home field if you played them in a DS series. So I think the Astros, I'm going to go out on a limb here. I think the Astros, because of the AL the way it is, can make it to the ALCS. I think that's pushing it. But I think they can get there if they get hot and they're doing the right things. And you got Hunter Brown, you got Peter Lambert, and you figured out maybe Christian Javier becomes your guy again, or Imai and Javier as kind of like an opener and closing out those middle innings. I think they can get to the ALCS. I'm not pushing it beyond that. I may be pushing my luck. Where are you? Are you? Do you think they can get to the ALCS? Or
the stat that kind of puts me in line with you is their record against teams over 500.
True.
They have a winning record against teams over 500.
I
think they had one really bad stretch, one really bad month that has really made the team at that time look worse than it is. I think
they're 23 and 13.
Right. I think they're slightly above. I think by talent wise, they're slightly above 500 talent level wise. And I think they're probably going to end up being 3 or 4 games better than Seattle when the season is over. Do that with that information, which you will. But I think an ALCS run would absolutely not be something that we should not be super shocked if it happens. I just think some Astros fans are a little spoiled by that run up until 2022 and 23, where it was just, we were clearly the best team on the field all the time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that is no longer the case. But hey, you know what, Jim, this has been great. Again, y'all go check out youtube.com/Ballpark Nation. And if you want to donate to help him get this film out there, AustinRevolution.com/P/support/donate to Ballpark Documentary Film. If you want to see the actual code, check out our YouTube channel. If you're listening, I will also post it on X as well. Jim, thank you so much. Tell everyone on your side that we said hello, that we're big fans of the show. And just for everybody here at Locked On Astros, we're super pumped because we know that we're always positive, always Stros. And if you're on video, check out the first 24/7 Locked On Sports Network. Make sure you check out Locked On Astros. Check out Jim Christopher and Ballpark Nation. And you know what? Also, tell us what your podcast is called. You're every week, twice a week. What is it called?
It's called Off Day because we're a little off.
That's okay. I like it. I've listened and I love it. I get my chuckles in and I love it because it's a little bit loose. It's a little bit free. But you know what? Jim, I wouldn't want you anywhere else, man.
I appreciate it. Thanks so much for having me.
Yes, sir. God bless. Y'all have a good one, and we're out. Play ball.